The 500 parking spaces available in Zone 2 refers to roadside areas only and doesn't include privately owned garages or parking areas or government-rented parking spaces. Following the launch of Zone 1 at Alameda Estate last year, the government is keen to avoid a late surge in applications for residential parking permits.
The point is that I think applications are coming a little bit late and there will be a mad rush, I predict, towards the beginning of the scheme, which actually starts on the 1st of March. So what we're trying to tell people is to please, if you're going to want to be part of the scheme, the advice is to apply early, and because there is a process that does take some time where people need to submit paperwork, and there's certain things that need to be looked at before a permit can be handed out to an individual or a household.
The residential parking scheme in Zone 2 falls under the Sustainable Traffic Transport and Parking Plan, but not everyone will be eligible.
Some people will be excluded. If we look at the rules of the permits themselves, there's certain things that we have to look out for when people apply, and one of those things is whether people are in arrears, and the other thing we have to look out for is whether people are already in possession of a private or rented parking space within town, because we don't not allow them to apply. They can still apply, but they start at a different tier. Because remember, as part of the traffic plan, the overall intention is that we try to limit the amount of cars on the road, and in doing so, we try somewhat to disincentivize multiple cars as far as possible, as much as possible.
If those residential parking spaces aren't applied for, you've perhaps overcalculated, would you reallocate them to, for example, a pay and display?
It would be a dream situation if the parking spaces were empty, because it means, and people didn't complain about that, because it means that then there's enough parking space hidden within car parks. So really, it's a lot of trial and error. We need to see how this pans out. I mean, I'm very excited to see what goes on with the scheme. I suspect that initially, just like what happened in Zone 1, there will be pockets of parking spaces that are not taken up because people have not got their permits yet. And within a short period of time after the scheme goes live, I suspect quite a sharp increase in applications for permits, and then we will very shortly see all parking spaces taken up, or at least a considerable amount of them taken up.
The Zone 2 residential parking scheme goes live on the 1st of March, but as with the Alameda Estate, there will be an amnesty period.
What happens is the scheme starts just as we did with Alameda Estate. We start placing dummy fines on vehicles, just notifying that they're parking in an area which is a permit-only area, and that will happen for a number of weeks until the people start getting used to the scheme. It also gives people that extra time to be able to get their permits should they have left it for the last moment, and then we will go live sometime in mid-March, and we will announce that date in due course.
There's no limit to the number of permits being issued and no set deadline either. But if you're applying for a residential parking permit after the 5th of March, you'll find the Gibraltar Car Parks office located at its new premises in New Harbours. The Waterport Road office will close on Friday the 2nd of March to make way for the new schools project. Updated information can be found on the Ministry of Infrastructure and Planning Facebook page and also on Twitter at HMGOG_MIP.